today, I was looking on Keymailer and was like, oh, this game looks interesting. Let me sign up for it. And then I was like, oh, wait, there's a demo for it. Played the demo and I was like, oh, shit, no. Quickly, I'm ready the key before they actually give it to me.
You don't have to. If they offer you a key, you still have to go and accept it. So
okay.
There's no reason not to just like scattergun any kind of game.
Does it say on the website, you must be at least this popular to enter and have a picture of Will?
I'm the new bar.
You're the new bar of entry. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. The Game FourCast, the weekly podcast where we get together, chat about what we've been playing, and all the latest news stories that we found interesting. My name is BottlerWorks, aka Josh, and I'm here with my three buddies as always. Olive Meister, Will.
Hello, I'm Will. Halo was really bad this week. Don't watch it. Just skip right over it.
Quikwix, Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve, and I think people are confusing me with a dog because I keep getting told I look like a good breed.
and Sammeh.
Oh my god. Hi, I'm Sam, and I'm Sam.
If anyone listening is interested, we're going to have an upcoming spot for the podcast because Steve's going to be fired after this show. So feel free to send in your applications. Actually, on that note, I was actually going to put this at the start. If you have any questions for the show, or you want to ask any one of us something specific, just feel free to leave a comment below. I think that could be quite interesting if we get any questions. But nevertheless, you were saying, Will, that Halo is still not very good, because I saw a bunch of news stories this week saying that apparently it's actually doing well and people are happy. Do you not like it?
No, they're all wrong.
Okay.
They're all wrong. Well, it's not. I've been happily chugging away at it. We got our first combat proper action scene in what felt like 6 episodes or something the other day, and it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad either. There was some good CG. The Spartans killing stuff. It was like this is popcorny and kind of fun. But all the way through this show, there's been this B plot about this small girl, and no one cares, and everyone doesn't like her. And last week's episode was entirely focused on this one character, and so
throwaway episode.
Absolutely a throwaway episode. The Master Chief wasn't even in that episode, and the show is Halo, and they didn't even. There wasn't a Halo, and there wasn't a Master Chief.
He's not that important, really. He's not that important, really, when you think about it. He's a side character.
I saw a review the other day of this show, and it's like, they said like this show has watched a bunch of like good HBO dramas, and it thinks that's what you need is like all these intersecting plots and human interest characters and stuff. And it's like, no, you don't. It's Halo. Just do a
Halo campaign.
Have John Halo shoot the aliens and look cool, and that's it.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard someone say that it's a bad Halo show, but it's like an okay sci-fi show.
It's like a trashy sci-fi show, like a trashy okay sci-fi show. Yeah.
Oh, is it finished now? It must be close to being finished at this point.
No, I think there's like one or two episodes left of the season.
Yeah.
It has been more entertaining. I thought after watching the first episode, I thought I was going to absolutely hate it. And apart from this last episode, it's generally been like a sort of okay ride.
That's the worst thing, is when, at least if it's really bad, you can just throw it in the bin, right? And you can be like, this is garbage.
Yeah.
But then if it's just competent enough to make it watchable, it's like, well, now I've got to watch this middling average Halo show just in case it has a really good episode, which
I will say, after you mentioned it last week, you were talking about Ozark, and I have since then I have basically binged watched the entire first season, and watching something like the Halo TV show and then jumping over to this, I was like, oh, I forgot what good TV was for a while there. I
need to get on that. That's been on my my watch list for a while, but I haven't just watched it.
It's really good. It's really good.
I would argue as well that the first season, well, like the start of Ozark is weaker than the later bits. When it gets going, it gets really good.
Yeah.
This is
good.
My advertisement for Ozark. People should watch it. It's really, really good.
What's really annoying was I went to actually cancel my Netflix subscription this week.
Yeah.
you told me to watch Ozark, and now I'm like, well, now I have to finish this show. And of course, season 2 of Is It Cake? We got to get through that.
Yeah, you got to get through season 2 of that, and then you have to watch Better Call Saul as well.
Oh no, I can't.
That's coming out.
That's too far gone.
if you can watch all of Ozark,
what's that, like
you
9
can watch...
seasons? No way, man.
I think there's just as much that as there is Ozark, which is quite a lot. So you got no excuse. Right. I suppose we'll go into what we've been playing. I'm going to throw it straight over to who should I start with? Steve. Let's start with you today.
Oh, good. Hi.
Hi.
I've played a few games this week, but the game I'm going to talk about is Crystal Project.
Oh, I know this.
This was recommended to me, and to me it seems like a Sam game for sure. So I kind of didn't want to talk about it with Sam because, like, oh no, it's going to be my game to talk about the podcast.
Yeah, out the way.
But yeah, this game I would say it's kind of like Final Fantasy, like a cross between Final Fantasy 1 and 5.
Yeah.
Where you kind of it's a JRPG style kind of game, but it fixes a lot of problems with the Final Fantasy series of like those older games.
Yeah.
There were no problems.
I was waiting for that.
Like, on like the Steam page, it's like it says there's no random encounters. It's like instead there are like flames on the overworld that will kind of chase you down. So you don't have that like annoying, like you can avoid encounters if you really want. It can be a bit difficult. You do have to like maneuver a bit. There's like you manage your threat to control which party members the monster will attack. There's no hidden information. Like it's turn orders on the screen, all the damage, all the abilities in like a tactical RPG. And the big thing is that you get 6 classes at the start, and as you progress, there's like individual crystals and like little mini dungeons that will unlock a new class.
Yeah.
And you've got that like JRPG where you can kind of combine classes a bit, and like you're like, oh, I've leveled up Black Mage, I'm going to switch over to like Summoner now, but I can still use some Black Mage skills.
Yeah. Is this demo on Steam? Download it off Steam.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, I've been playing the demo. I am going to purchase the full game because I do like it. But yeah, the demo is free on Steam. It's very in depth. Like I have been playing for like over 2 hours, I believe.
Oh, so it's actually out.
Yeah, the game is out.
Oh, okay. Because when you said you've been playing a demo, I just assumed that it wasn't out.
It's a very big demo, and apparently the save, if I wanted to, can transfer over to when I purchase the game, it will happen as well.
Yeah.
There's some weird things that they do with this one though, like you can there's no hidden like invisible walls. It's all like there's all hints, but there you can jump in this game. It's like it's pixel art, but there's like it's like 3D as well.
It's Minecraft. Like I don't know what I think about that.
I have thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
It takes like when I first
played, farming him in.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, it's a bit weird, but you can jump on anything.
Yeah.
You very quickly learn that you can jump on like NPC heads, you can jump on chests, you can jump on lampposts to like get to higher elevations because you'll see chests all about. And some of them you can like maneuver to get straight away, and some of them you got to unlock like mounts later on to like jump slightly higher and whatnot. But yeah, it's a very good game. Like it's not like. It's not super linear like at the start, like for like the tutorial section it is a bit, but then it kind of like opens up and you can kind of choose where you go and what direction you want to do. And it's a good game. I would say if you've played a Final Fantasy game, it's a bit more limiting in the classes. Like the classes aren't that in depth. Like you'll level up and there's like a talent tree of skills and you get to kind of pick what order you get your skills in, but it's not like a sprawling talent tree. It's like you get like 5 or 6 choices, but you can unlock everything, and then you move on to your next class. It is designed to eventually like you keep going and you get passives from one class, and you can kind of craft your like ideal party.
It's got a fair number of reviews, which is pretty good. I thought it might be a more niche thing, but it's clearly quite popular. Yeah,
I hadn't heard about it, but until someone recommended it to me this week, and I've fallen in love with this game. It's great. I think they're still like I think it's released, but they're still like working on it because I was like followed them on Twitter today and I saw like they've updated this and this and they've added like some quite big features. So is like a
I was gonna say this little GIF of like platforming that's on the screen.
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot of Paper Mario. If you've ever played those, where it's like it's an RPG, but also you can do your little platforming bits here and there.
And it's a Metroidvania.
Just chuck out all the buzzwords. And it's a roguelike. No, it's not.
That is one thing that I am a little disappointed is that where you can jump and platform everywhere. Sometimes you look like you've got to kind of get good at like the jumping. Not to the point where of frustration, but it's like you've got to like really like run to the edge, jump, and then you can maybe make you could probably make it if you give it a few tries. The other thing that because I'm playing the demo and I'm not sure if it's in the full release or not, but I think this game would be perfect to be a randomizer as well. So I'm hoping that the devs will put that in at some point.
I will say, from these pictures, this art style is all over the place. I'm not sure what I think about it.
I quite like it.
It's like
when you
Final Fantasy pixel art in a Minecraft world, and then also this monster on screen here just kind of looks like what am I looking at? Kind of, I don't know.
I get that.
You get what I mean? It's not
like three different art styles.
Yeah, it's
on the same screen all at once.
And then there's like this, like again, like Minecraft world, and but it's a bit over the place. But yeah,
it is a little bit. I would say like the battle screen to me could do with like a small overhaul, make it a bit more. Because it's a 2D sprite, but it's like in a 3D world. So on the battle screen, it's very obvious, and I would like them to change that. And also, like the music is okay, but there's been no like, sometimes in JRPGs you get those like real bangers that like stick with you, and like haven't heard any like of super amazing top tier music yet. But like it's good, but it's not like like everyone remembers like the Final Fantasy like. Their favorite.
Well, I mean, this is not like Square making a Final Fantasy game. Is it? So...
it looks like the first pass of like that HD 2D thing. Before it has like all the bloom and depth of field and
exactly. But this game, like, it's taken the JRPG genre and just like kind of tweaked some of the problems. Like for me, like I always get paranoid about missing items, so I always like look up a guide and be like, oh, is there going to be anything that I can miss or skip or screw over myself with? And this game does away with that. And you can like backtrack and always get everything. And
you don't need everything.
In the demo, I've found 2 secret classes so far, and done like a big chunk of like exploring and like story. So the demo is quite like in depth. I would recommend everyone pick up the demo, give it a little try, see if it's for you. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week.
It looks like as opposed to like Minecraft, it looks a lot like Dragon Quest Builders.
Oh yeah, I'm half torn between the two of what I think it looks more like.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I'm personally sold on it.
The art,
judging
the art
by
style could be a bit better, but
all the reviews, it feels like the core gameplay is exceptional.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there's anything that like puts me off initially, it's the art style at the moment. Just it clashes a lot.
I don't know. I'm digging this. I'm not a huge JRPG man, so I don't know if this is exactly my jam. But
yeah, it's a quick download.
It's a quick download when you got my internet speed now.
now you're bragging.
Oh wow, if I can brag about it, yeah.
Well, it was a quick download from my internet, so that is a feat in and of itself. For the demo, at least.
I always like it when you see you go to a Steam page, and it says developer, and it's just somebody's name. Developer, publisher, and it's just a guy's name.
Developer, yeah. Oh, Andrew made this sick.
Yeah.
I know that guy. He's a cool guy.
When I see that, now I'm like, I'm being far too critical of this now.
No, I don't think it should make if you're not digging the art style, I don't think the fact that it's made by one guy, as evaluating an end product, it doesn't really make a difference to you, does it, as a
Yeah.
player?
Yeah, I mean, Stardew Valley was made by one guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minecraft.
Actually,
Yeah,
one thing I
made by
did notice
one
is
guy.
One guy.
when you transition like new music, it will appear in the bottom corner and be like, "This is the track name," and I think who like composed it. Maybe I'm not sure,
Metallica.
but I like.
More games
does,
should
like-
do that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Or like a Steam friend pop up where it's like this person's online. It should just say
Well, no,
what
well,
the song that's playing.
okay, I'm not gonna play through Forgive Me Father recently, and I remember really liking a couple tracks, but then you go to the OST, and some of it was like, Combat 1, and I'm like, okay, all right.
I want that as a system where it pops up what song is playing, but I want that built into like console
Steam.
OS or Steam.
Yeah.
So I'm just, you can be playing whatever, and it's like, you want to release your game here, you have to accommodate our really hard to use music lister.
That reminds me of, because if you've ever played Hurdle, which is like Wordle but for music, there was a Final Fantasy 14 specific one, and I remember going like, oh, I've played all of Final Fantasy, I've got this. Listen to a track, and I'm like, well, that's this boss music, and I was like, oh wait, no, but I don't know the song name. I just know it's like this boss. I don't know what the name is, so I failed it.
Yeah, because there's so much good music in FF14. It's literally probably like thousands of tracks now. And I do like a boss in that game, and I'm like, this song is absolutely banging. But then I'll never look it up because every boss song is
because it's
absolutely banging.
It's called 4 divided by 26 Requiem's Lament or something, part 3.
Yeah, Breeze of the 7 Crystal Division. Just some really random name. It almost feels like they make so much music for games that they literally just use randomizers to decide the titles of the songs.
Yeah.
It's like, what should we name this one? Oh, who fucking cares? So you recommend it, Steve?
I would recommend to play the demo. Yeah, it's not a perfect game by a long stretch. There are a few things that I would personally change if I was to make it, but it does it is good for if you are a JRPG fan. It is like an older JRPG fan, like the pixel-based ones. It is worth a little check out.
Okay, well, good stuff. Well, we'll move on to next person, and I'm going to jump into my one. I'm going to be rude and stick my jump the queue and jump in. There was one game initially I was going to play this week. I'm not going to be greedy and take 2 turns, but I was going to play Turnip Boy and something tax evasion. What's it called? What's the full title?
Turnip Boy commits tax evasion.
Is that the game that you dropped?
Yes. So I was going to play that. I got 40 minutes into Turnip Boy and tax evasion, and it did nothing for me.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of internet humor and bits and pieces like that, and some of it's kind of funny, but it wasn't doing much for me. So I dropped that.
That game is definitely if you love internet humor, it's good for that, but it's like a B tier Zelda clone otherwise. And
I didn't enjoy the humor, and like you say, what was left was basically a bad Zelda game. So the game is 2 hours long. I looked it up, it's 2 hours long. I didn't finish it. So I moved on from that. What I've actually been playing, and what I'm actually going to talk about, is Rogue Legacy 2.
Yes.
So I've played a lot of this already. It hit version. It was early access, and version 0.8 came out, and it was on quite a deep sale. So I thought I'll just buy it now.
What is this game? Because I've not played Rogue Legacy 1 or 2 or seen any of them.
Yeah, okay. So Rogue Legacy 2 has just had its 1.0 patch, so the game is finished. If you go and buy this now, it is a complete game. It's a roguelike, and the closest comparison I can probably make is something like Castlevania. Where it's rooms with enemies, go through, it's 2D, you go around, it's like combat based, so swords, bows, things like that. But the main hook of the game, and of the first game, is the dungeons are randomly generated, and you pick a character and you go through, and when that character dies, you play as one of his or her descendants, and you create like a family lineage of all the characters you've played as. And every time you die, the next character you pick like out of 2 or 3. And there are a bunch of different classes and stuff like that. So you can play as like a swordsman or an archer, or they get like really weird. The more you play, you unlock more. You get like I think it's like an astrologian and a pirate and this, that, and the other. There's loads of different ones.
Yeah.
And every single run you do, you get money, and that money is used to build up your castle, which give you more permanent buffs that make you stronger. Get further in the game, basically. And yeah, so it's randomly generated, but there are sort of levels. And I think I haven't finished this, so I finished it when it had like it didn't have the final area or final boss. So I've done most of the game. But as you go through an area, you'll kill a boss, and that's kind of that area complete. And next run you do, you can like skip that area to go to the next area. So there is actually like progression.
Yeah.
You haven't got to do a whole run in one character. Good. So I think that just it's come out now, and now that it's out, it's been reviewing, and it's reviewed insanely well. It just feels great to play. It's like I don't really know how to describe it. The movement is really good.
So what is it, like 2D side scrolling? Is it 3D?
Yeah. It's Castlevania. It's 2D platforming and 2D combat. So jumping, dashing around,
hopping on things' heads.
Each, as I said, there's like 5 or 6 quote unquote like biomes or levels, and each one of them has like a permanent upgrade for your character. So you unlock like dashes and double jumps and stuff like that. And as you gain all of your mobility stuff, you're just dashing around like mad and doing all these cool combos and stuff like that. And it's because it's a roguelike, every run's a little bit different, and you kind of get forced to pick a different character.
Yeah.
So
and like they have 3, right? And it's like you're not guaranteed to get what you were before.
Oh no! So you can have, like I said, I think there's like 8 or 9, maybe 10 classes. But you can only pick at the start of the game. You can only pick between 2 characters, and if your favorite's not there, you could start up the game and suicide and try again. But that's not the point of the game. It's to try a different character. But yeah, there is one character I've been playing a lot of when I can. It's a chef character, never frying pan, and you can reflect projectiles, and it's like if you reflect a projectile, it flies back, and after you reflect something, your next hit is a critical attack, so you do really good damage. It's just the game is so much fun to play.
I remember in Rogue Legacy 1 there was a Lich class, which started off with like 2 max health. So like if you got hit, you were dead. But every time you kill an enemy, your max health goes up. So if you survive the run, you're just there like, come at me, bro.
Yeah, and there's when you make a character as well, they can be assigned random traits, which make the game harder but give you more gold, which ultimately is what you want. You want tons of gold to buy new weapons and armor and upgrade your castle and things like that. So
there was a great story that came, or there's a great like screenshot of a tweet that came out of the first Rogue Legacy. I'm pretty sure it was Rogue Legacy, where your characters could roll random, with the traits. One of them could roll like I think it was just called like homosexual or something. And someone put on Twitter, they were like, "Oh, is this a bug? This trait doesn't seem to do anything." And the developer was like, "Yep."
That's pretty funny.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
If you say you incredibly good at video games,
yes,
not necessarily speedrunning, but could you boot up this game and finish it with one character, or is it does it get too hard where you need to have that lineage of making getting new characters?
I mean, it's not impossible. It's for someone playing it for the first time. It is. unbelievably unlikely.
If you've got like 5,000 hours in Hollow Knight, you might be able to beat this on your first attempt if you really went for it.
The same way a guy can play all Dark Souls games back to back without getting hit. It's like you can do anything really. It's like, but as a first time player, no, you will not make it through this game. It gets to a point where, because when you unlock gold and stuff to unlock your tower, you unlock, more damage, more defense, and better weapons to do. You have like stats, like intelligence and stuff like that. And these things ultimately make it, manageable. So enemies that would take insanely long to kill before, you can actually like finish them now and bits like that.
Yeah.
So,
I think that was my problem with the first Rogue Legacy. I really liked it, but when I played it, unless you were some kind of like god, I always feel like you should be able to boot up a roguelike and beat it on your first go, know? But I felt like Rogue Legacy was like, there is no way you could beat this in one in one run.
I don't think this changes that. There is still that in this. There is there's certain
you could
bosses.
Probably beat the first boss.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The first area you could probably get through, but there's like when you start getting further in, it gets insanely hard until you start.
Yeah, it wasn't, and it's been a long time since I played it, so maybe I was like misremembering or thinking it was harder than it was. So, but I just remember that being a pet peeve at the time. I don't even know if I still feel that way, to be honest.
But there are certain bosses that you get to where you definitely have an easier time against them based on what class you're playing.
Yeah.
And I think you can be smart about it, and you can realize that, right? Like, it's like the third or fourth boss or something. It just sends insane projectiles absolutely everywhere that you have to dodge. But like I said, if you take the chef character, you either knock them all back at them or you just fling them away. And then the boss hasn't got much left after that.
That's pretty fun. Yeah, so, that's a pretty fun mechanic. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's lots of stuff like that all over the place. I've just gotten to a bit where I can now, they're not new classes, but I can modify my classes to make them slightly different. So I haven't done it yet, but it's like, hey, the main swordsman? You want to turn him into a pizza delivery person? And I'm like, what does that mean? It's just like, it's the same character, but now he's holding a pizza and he's got like a pizza weapon. And I'm like, I don't want to spend my rare resources on this, but also what is it?
Yeah.
I can't recommend this game enough. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. They've also, I think Rogue Legacy 1 was entirely 2D, right work?
Yeah.
Whereas this one kind of does the Darkest Dungeon 2 thing, where it looks very faithful to the original, but they've done some really cool 3D work with the characters and enemies.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because I remember, we talked about it before, but Darkest Dungeon 2, where it all went 3D, and it was like, how the hell can you do that 3D? Because the art style was so good. And then you play it, and you're like, oh no, they've completely nailed it.
Yeah.
It looks incredible. So there's a lot of that in this, I personally feel. Where I'm like, this looks, if you die, your character will spin around and then fall over or something. And at that point, you're like, oh yeah, shit, this is a 3D game. I've got nothing else to really say, but this game is brilliant. Having a great time. I'm not finished yet.
Rogue Legacy 1, in all fairness, as well. Rogue Legacy 1 was a banger.
Yeah, I played that to completion as well. That was a brilliant game. I've been waiting for Rogue Legacy 2 to be finished for a long time.
Yeah.
And like I said, it got to like version 0.8, and it was like, do you want to buy it for 40% off? And I was like, oh yeah, I do, yeah.
I just looked it up because I was going to put this on my wish list, and Rogue Legacy 1 is £2, and like you could play Rogue Legacy 1 as like a demo for 2, basically you really?
I think, I haven't looked up this one, I think it's maybe like 20 something pounds, Rogue Legacy 2.
Yeah, 22 quid.
22 quid, yeah. So it might still be on sale. Oh, it's currently 20% off until.
When's it end though? It'll be ended by the podcasters. So,
I'll post it on Discord and say we talked
20
about
hours.
This.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this promotion might be the launch promotion That's just ending. Because like I said, the game's just come out, so yeah, fantastic game. Yeah, so that's me wrapped up. Let's go next to who should we do next? Let's do Sam.
Well, you might be doing both of us. Depending on what we've been playing.
Yeah, I think me and Sam are sharing a little bit today.
I thought this would happen. Right, so what do you both want to talk about?
Okay, ready? Say it. Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Warhammer
Dune Spice
40K.
Wars. Oh,
okay.
no, fuck.
Well then, fair enough. Yeah, I've been playing
you go.
Chaos Warhammer 40K Chaos Gate Daemonhunters. I
Is it
started.
pronounced Daemonhunters or
Yes.
Daemonhunters?
No. It's Demon.
Okay.
It is Demon. Yeah, it's you're the Grey Knights in Warhammer 40K, and you're putting down Nurgle, and it's XCOM based. It's got that like XCOM, but the out of combat is more like BattleTech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're, I mean, those two are already very similar, but I feel like BattleTech kind of did the admin stuff better, so I prefer it. But
I've heard of XCOM before, but what is BattleTech? Like, how does it relate to this game?
BattleTech's another squad, like turn-based, tactical.
Oh, okay, I haven't heard that one either.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like XCOM clone or whatever needs to be like its own genre at this point, because we've had several.
I mean, that's why people just say
it's
like XCOM.
Yeah, XCOM's like the daddy of the genre.
BattleTech, which is also a good game, is just a mech version of XCOM, essentially. But yeah, so the cool thing about this one, which I've had so far, is that there's only like 4 classes, I think, or there's only 4 classes I've got to so far. But it has quite powerful tech trees for each class.
Yeah.
So you feel like just leveling up once or twice, suddenly your guy is pulling off some serious stuff.
Yeah.
And that's quite nice, to be honest.
Yeah,
but also,
XCOM kind of always felt like it was like it's like a game of limitations, right? And resources. And this game is more like, nah, just go wild, like go nuts. Use all the
There's a reason you're only allowed 4 people. It's because it will cut down 200 in the blink of an eye. Like,
yeah.
But yes, it also does a cool thing where if your guy hits 0 health, they don't die.
Okay.
They take a mortal wound, and they have a certain amount of times they can take those wounds before the character is fully dead.
Yeah.
So it also just kind of helps that, like, oh, you failed a mission, everyone died. Well, no, actually, they didn't die. They're just going to be in medbay for a while, and they're going to come back. But now you can only fuck up with them like once or twice more.
Yeah, because
XCOM not lost them.
XCOM characters straight up die, right? And they're dead.
They die.
Yeah,
and that's like the problem. That's something I have a problem with in XCOM is where you'll go on one mission, make like one wrong decision, and it's like, well, I guess, you know, it becomes like a campaign death spiral where your best dudes are now dead. Which means the next mission is probably also going to fail or something like that, you know. And it's just like
I've seen it in a few
and game over.
I've seen it in a few games where it's specifically designed where it's like, the core gameplay loop is, you know, your characters are supposed to die and you're supposed to recover from it, and myself, the way I play games, I'm just like, nope. Don't like that.
No, I don't. I don't like losing characters.
It's the same in Fire Emblem as well, where it's like, oh, your character's dead. It's like, nope, don't like this.
They added casual mode to Fire Emblem.
Where you've got like 3 to 5 essentially lives to each character. It's like, okay, he has failed 5 missions now. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't deserve this character. You know?
Yeah.
Like, but no, it's really cool. They're all really customizable. If you're really big into Warhammer as well, it's got those little nods to that. I'm not really big in the lore, but one of my characters had the options to get Terminator armor, and my friend Matt is like, Terminators are amazing. So my guys have Terminator armor now.
The Terminators, am I right? Like,
so, literally 5 minutes before we did this podcast, I had just failed the mission.
Oh no.
And like I was pissed that I had failed it, but I all I want to do is just go and carry on playing. Like I'm not like, oh, I need to take a break like I would with XCOM whenever I failed a mission.
So how far in are you? Because I feel like I'm still early, but
I've only done like 4 missions after the tutorial, 4 or 5 missions.
Oh right, okay. I think I'm about the same place as you then. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm still being introduced new like systems.
Yeah.
So like I don't know the full extent of it, but I think I've unlocked all the admin stuff now.
Yeah.
And I've been shown how to get resources for the admin stuff. But
it's quite as someone who's played a lot of XCOM, it's like the parallels between the two games make it very easy to jump into this.
Yeah.
But that's one of the big problems I have with it is the UI is not very helpful in this game. It feels very cluttered. And it's like the way I sort of thought about it was like it tells you everything at any one moment, but often doesn't explain anything.
Yeah, it would be like I'll buff a guy, and it will be like immune, autos, cover, none, and I'm like, right, and you can put it in blue text, but I can't hover over it to see what it says. Like I don't. Like I got it after a while what it was trying to say, but like it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna have to manually butt my head against this, to understand some of this text.
It's
saying the same thing.
It's just saying a bunch of stuff, but ultimately it doesn't mean anything.
I almost took a screenshot because there's a screen you get to. There's like a it's like there's like the actual missions and then the meta game, which is like similar to XCOM, which is like plate spinning basically, where you're trying to keep corruption down across a whole network of planets. And stuff.
This place is being invaded whilst this.
Yeah, and you never have enough time to cover everything. Sort of thing is what's going on. And similar to XCOM, you have like a meeting with your boss every couple months, and and when you do, there's like a mechanic where you put points into like, say, melee weapons or ranged weapons or something. And then the more points you put into those, then the better rewards you'll get at the end of a mission.
Okay. Yeah.
But the screen that pops up when that first appears is like, there's just numbers everywhere. There's like, you like hover over something and it's like, there was like level 1 always, level 2 never, level 3 never. And I'm like, what the fuck? I almost took a screenshot to post to Discord to be like, am I stupid? What the fuck am I looking at?
At no point at this point as well has it said this is based on the rewards after a mission. It's just straight up gives you this screen.
I love the idea of reading something like 2 or 3 times. And you're like, no. I still don't get it.
I literally, it's like, is this a me problem or It was like 11:30 when I got to the screen, so I'm like, why just need to go to bed?
I saw a thing, slightly off topic, but I saw like an article on Reddit. I think it was this morning, and a lot of articles on Reddit now are just posted by bots online that scour the web and find interesting things and make a title. And there was just like a title. It had like tens of thousands of upvotes, this article, but the title made like it was worded so weirdly, and there's just like 1,000 comments on Reddit being like, "What the fuck does this title even mean?" Like, you read it enough and you kind of understand it, but at the same time you're like, "What is this is not right." But yeah, so you're saying this game just has screens like that where you read it and you're like, what?
Yeah. It can be very blocky as well, where it takes up all of your screen to try and tell you something.
Yeah.
But the actual gameplay, it feels so good.
Yeah. I was
Go on. I was going to say, normally in these games, you're quite like even numbers with your opponent whenever you you run into a pod of 6 guys and you've got 6 guys.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like, no, you've got 4 guys and they've got like 6 to 8, but your guys fuck.
That's what I love about Space Marines and Warhammer, where it's like, there's this, what's it, the first Space Marine game where it's like an action game, and it's just you as a space marine with your chainsaw blade and your your bolter, just obliterating thousands of orcs, and that's what I love about Warhammer.
It's really satisfying. There's a guy, I think you see him on the left. He's got those big prongs on his jetpack, and he has a teleport move, and it's like. The memes write themselves. You teleport behind guys, nothing personnel them, and then you can just jump around.
And... Oh,
it's so exactly. Yeah, it's so
an
satisfying.
Upgraded teleport where it's like you can teleport within like 10 tiles, and you will attack every enemy that is within that range.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, sign me up. Everyone is beelining to that.
I was watching Will play this, and I was gonna say the animations and the sounds are very good. Like you could see that those Marines felt very heavy.
The
sound of it was very good. Watching it was a treat.
What's weird though is the animations in the actual game part of the game are really good, really satisfying. They have like you said, good sound. So it's like when a guy shoots his gun, you really, it's bassy. You can hear it. Yeah, you feel it. But then you'll get to a cutscene, and it's like they've never seen a human move before, and it's really weird. Your guy, just the action of your guy walking, it's like it's like a robot. They don't. Yeah, it's weird. Some of the faces are just like, what am I looking at? It's really odd.
Like different people made those cutscenes compared to doing the animations in the game.
Yeah, you'll be like, okay, guy, run and hit that guy. And your guy, proper, stomps along, he's hopping over terrain and stuff, no cover, and it does this really cool attack animation. And then there was a bit where a camera was just following a guy as he walked towards, a mission table or something. And the camera was, dead rigid, locked like a steady cam. The guy's torso wasn't moving, and his arms were just sort of, flailing left and right as he walked. It was, and he's dead upright. It's really hard to explain without, but I don't know what happened.
It might literally be that certain parts of the game were either made by different teams or outsourced or something.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that actual gameplay and meat and bones is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good.
The graphics when you're out of combat and stuff, though, I'm like, did this really come out in 2022?
Well, this is exactly what we were talking about. With as soon as we were talking about this game last week, we were just like, this game will either be really good or it'll be utterly shocking. And it seems like it's, by the sounds of things, it's both. it's good in some areas, bad in others.
Yeah, it's such a faithful XCOM game that if you like XCOM and you like Warhammer, this is a pretty safe bet.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, so in this screenshot, you can see one guy's got a two-handed sword and one guy's got twin swords, and it's there is such good customizability between your weapons.
Yeah.
That you could have guys be different classes, and it's you could put the same melee weapon on all of them. You could be like, this is my sword guy, this is my hammer guy.
Yeah.
You have such free reign.
Yeah,
okay, some people are better than others, but you can just ignore that if you want to.
Yeah.
You literally just can.
Yeah. I know it's kind of like... Sorry, you go, Steve.
Oh. I was going to say, I will say, my experience with XCOM clones literally goes down to Mario and Rabbids. I was looking at this game, but then watching Will play, I was like, oh, there's too many menus, it's too complicated for me. There was too much.
If you've played XCOM, then this game does not have as many menus as XCOM.
Yeah,
there is nowhere near as much to think about. Either.
The UI is extremely clunky, but also after a couple of hours, I was like, okay, it'll be something where it doesn't explain anything, so it'll be this gives you one grimoire, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means, but I'm sure I'll figure that out in the next couple of hours. Sure enough, I'll be clicking through screens and be like, oh, that's what that does, right?
Grimoire.
Okay, I see, a grimoire, right. Okay, I'm on board. Yeah, there's a bunch of bits and pieces like that, but it's the game is the UI makes the game seem way more complicated than it actually is.
It's you never notice good AI, not AI, UI. Because it's just because it serves its purpose perfectly, right? But you always suddenly when you notice bad UI, You're like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's like it's such bad UI, but because the game has so little systems,
yeah.
you still don't interact with it a lot, which is why it's kind of like okay, but like yeah, the UI.
That's the only thing that I got very frustrated in the first like hour because I played this a bit off stream. Or wait, no, that was June. But in like the first hour, I was like, I'm not sure I'm digging this because it's like the character models and the UI. I was like, oh, I don't know if I can be bothered with this because it's like it seems so needlessly complicated. But then it got like another hour or so, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm totally on board. This is a great game. This is so much fun.
I gotta say, I know it's Space Marines are always like the common one for Warhammer. Like, oh yeah, Space Marines. Oh, but they look so fucking cool.
They're so iconic. They look so awesome.
They look
all
so
the time.
cool.
Yeah,
it was where's the screenshot? It was this one that I just scrolled past a minute ago. Look at this guy. He looks so
Terminator. That's the Terminator.
He
right
looks
there.
so fucking cool. He's got like a page of writing on his shoulder. He's got just Steel Faith written on his belt. it's so cool. I love it so much.
Was it in the tutorial? Your guy, it'll be like, oh, throw a grenade right with this button, and your guy throws it. And it looks like a frag grenade, but on the side there's just a huge badge that just says like, it's like Doom or something. It zooms in right on it. They know.
They know what it is.
It's like you don't throw that grenade, you fucking throw that grenade.
Yeah. But that's it's so weird that the animation is like every time your guys do something cool, it zooms right in. Your guy is like front, center screen and stuff. He'll do this wicked animation. And then you watch a cutscene and you're like, that's not how people walk. So I don't understand what happened there.
He's walking like PlayStation 1, like Tomb Raider, Lara Croft.
yeah.
So the main antagonists of this Chaos Marines or Chaos Monsters, what are you fighting against?
Nurgle, the Chaos Gods, Nurgle's minions.
Yeah, it's sort of space zombies, which include zombie space marines.
So that's a man, and he's about to stab a man in the face in this screenshot.
There are like normal people that are just like fanatic zealots.
Oh, okay.
Then you'll get actual just Huss monsters is the only way I could describe them.
Yeah.
And then you'll get like Nurgle's warriors, which are like space marines but Nurglified.
Yeah.
They're like isn't there a character in Harry Potter, the blonde girl, where she's like Nurgles? She sees like spirits called Nurgles or something. I don't know. That's just where my brain went to when you said Nurgles. I'm
the annoying thing is I know exactly what scene you're on about.
Oh yeah, like Luna Lovegood.
Luna.
Nurgles. I know I'm not wrong.
Oh shit! I'm reading Nargles.
Is it Nargles? Close enough.
Yeah. That's what this meme template would leave me to believe.
Did you have a separate game, Will, or was this your same one?
Yeah. So I've played a lot. I played a lot of that. That was. I'm gonna go back and play more of that. I also played Dune: The Spice Wars, or just Spice Wars. I'm not sure.
Spice Girls.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
Dune Spice Girls.
Dune Spice Girls.
So this is a 4X game, a 4X RTS, which sort of in the vein of like Stellaris or basically Stellaris.
Stellaris.
It's the only one I can think of. So it's like an RTS, but it's very grand scale, and you can pause at any point. So it's not like a StarCraft where you're optimizing
macro heavy.
Yeah, you're not optimizing your micro and macro game and stuff. It's very much a sort of halfway between something like that and something like Civ, where actual combat often takes a backseat to things like you put like political intrigue and making sure your tech is ahead of everyone else, and leveraging local barbarians or whatever to do your dirty work for you. And this is sort of in those veins, in the vein of those kind of games, and like your Stellaris, and it's good. It's early access at the moment, and it feels quite early access because all of the things you'd want in a Dune game is in this right now. Like, there's sandworms, there's lots of like plots, and you have lots of ways to fuck with the enemy factions. That isn't just like blowing them up or something.
Yeah.
But none of it is particularly deep at the moment. The best example is probably the sandworms, in that any time your guys aren't on hard ground, which there are certain regions which are like rock, which they can't reach you, and around all your settlements and towns is also is the same. It's like hard ground, but everywhere else is sand, and at any point you'll have an alert that will be like, oh, your dude's crossing here, they've alerted a sandworm and you need to get them out of there. So that could be, but it's like, okay, or they'll get eaten is the understanding. But that doesn't really ever get more complicated than like just select all the guys who are stood where the sandworm might appear and then just move them a bit.
A single screenshot on the Steam page of the sandworm. Disappointed.
Because you don't really. Okay, so I haven't played as the Fremen, the Sand People faction yet. Apparently, they can ride the sandworms, and I haven't done that. I haven't done that yet. Yeah, I haven't seen that in action. I imagine that's quite cool. But yeah, so it doesn't really ever get very deep. There's like a there's like your traditional RTS units, but there's only like 5 or 6 per faction, and it's all very like, this is your melee guy and he's got lots of health, this is your ranged guy and they do damage but they don't have a lot of health, and some other like units unique to the factions, which is good, but it doesn't, it's not like you're countering builds. Again, it's like not a APME RTS where you're trying to build infrastructure to counter someone else's like strategy or something. And yeah, like I played through one campaign to completion. I was playing as the Atreides, so I was Oscar Isaac essentially. And yeah, it was pretty good. And it's like, so it's got all the bits there, but none of it goes particularly deep at the moment.
It's like I don't have a lot to add to these sorts of discussions about games, because it's one of those things where it's like, I'm nearly 30, right? I know what I like and what I dislike for games. And I can say with confidence, I don't get along with these games at all. There's something about them. I think it's like the whole tactics stuff just never really clicks with me. I never get any personal satisfaction out of them.
I think I think that's the big part of these games is the kind of stories you come away from your campaign with, and it's like, you know, that they'll be unique to your playthrough because all of this stuff is like generated. So like when you play Stellaris or something, and it's like, yeah, we had a faction war or something, and I had to help out some guys, whatever it happens to be. And this one, it didn't. It all felt very like, I don't know what to call it, like static almost. Like, I feel like if I booted up the game right now and played as the same faction, my campaign experience would largely be the same as the last one. I
get what you mean there. You want it to be different every time. So
it gives you nothing really, nothing like, I don't want to say like emergent, but you know what I mean, where it's like there wasn't any sort of events that happened that really changed the balance of power, or like I got ahead quite early and then no one could really touch me for the rest of the game.
I was going to say, so as someone that doesn't really play these games, how do you add that to your game? Is it just like more, not random events, but just more events in general, more things that can happen?
Yeah, there are things that pop up, like there'll be there's little nodes that pop up in all your territories and stuff, and it'll be like, oh, this is a crashed ship. You can go and investigate it. But they were always, they didn't really have anything beyond like you'll get a bit of resources from it. And I sort of, by end game, I was so rich that I just sort of started ignoring them because it like wasn't worth my time to even notice them or anything.
Yeah.
And they do have this interesting system where there's a thing called the Landsrad Council or something, and what that is every sort of couple of in-game days, it'll say, oh, a new vote is going to happen, and what it'll be is there'll be 3 things on there, 3 like almost perks, but like modifiers or something. So it'll be like, oh, for the next however many weeks, this faction has to pay more tax on any buildings they make or something, right? And then each faction will have a sort of political standing and how much influence they have. And what you can do is like, well, this guy's giving me grief, so I'm just going to make sure when the vote comes around, he can't build any, like his units are twice as much money to build, and and his taxes through the roof or something, right? So it's just like cripple his economy for the next couple weeks, while I build up my infrastructure, sort of thing. But it's like I could see that becoming a really interesting like thing, maybe in multiplayer, but in the single player, the AI didn't seem interested in like gaming that in very interesting ways. There was a really funny moment where I was so far ahead by the end of the game, I was sort of just playing with the systems, just sort of poking at them to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And there was one faction that had attacked me a couple times. So, like when you get like, I know it's a robot, but it doesn't matter. But I'm like, I'm going to fuck that guy up.
I'm going to make your day particularly bad right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's a robot and he won't feel it, but I am going to mess with him. And I saw on the vote that it was like, your upkeep for buildings is going to go up. Your upkeep for, there's like a bunch of different resources, and one of them is like essentially building materials. And every building you have will have an upkeep cost in building materials and money and power or water or whatever. That's a big thing. And so what happened was I saw desert power? Anyway.
Sea power, air power. Now we have desert power.
Yeah. So what I saw on the vote that was coming up, that one of them was like double the upkeep cost for building materials for a faction. So what I did was, with all my riches, I essentially traded away all this guy's resources, like, and then when the vote came up, I made it so his upkeep cost doubled, and then all his infrastructure just crumbled because I'd bought all his resources and then doubled the price of all the upkeep on his buildings.
Where's my rent money?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like Aaron was sat across from me. I was just like cackling, like, I fucked this guy. Like,
angry landlord.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, right, now I'm going to invade him because he can't do shit about it. So it's like, I could see some fun stuff coming with that, especially if this game doesn't have multiplayer yet, but I know it's on the cards.
But still, it's early access.
Yeah, it's still early access. Yeah. So I am going to play it again, and I'm going to play as the different factions just to see how they kind of change, because there are some interesting stuff in there. Like one faction doesn't even get to vote in this this thing, so they're kind of at the whims of what all the other factions are doing, but they have like more powerful units, so it's like
that. That's a cool idea.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff in here that I'm intrigued to see where they take it. Yeah. There's also a lot of very clunky. Speaking of like clunky UI, this has a very nice UI actually. Everything's very elegantly laid out, but there's some weird stuff. I think I read somewhere they call it something like an attention tax, where this is the Spice Wars. So a big part of it is farming spice, which involves sending out these units, which they're like gatherers, right? And they'll just sit on a spice patch.
SCVs.
And, essentially SCVs, yeah. And they'll sit on a little spice patch and they'll just do laps and they'll just accumulate spice for you. but every now and then you'll get a warning that's like, oh, it's Sandworm. He's coming to get your spice hauler, right? And there's a way that you can automate recalling them, which if you've seen the movie, just a big air balloon thing comes down and lifts your giant crawler out, which is cool. And that's in this, and it's cool. It looks great. But there's no way to, and you can set it so that if your guys detect a sandworm, it will call one down automatically, but it lowers their output because they're on like lookout and stuff. But there's no way to automatically send them back out once you've recalled them. So it's like there's this. It kind of, by late game, it's kind of like I'm just annoyed because I have like 4 or 5 crawlers across the map, and like every now and then it'll be like, oh shit, sandworm, and I'm like, okay, which one is it? Yeah, recall him, and then just watch as it does the animation, takes it back to base, and then I'm like, okay, he's landing, he's dropped it off, and yeah, send him out again. Okay, right, back to whatever I was doing, and it's like there's no way to automate that, and I get it. Because if you could, it like this sort of takes away a big part of the game, both like thematically and kind of if you just automate that, it's like what even are sandworms? Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe like a way to automate that, maybe through tech or something would be nice. So yeah. Early looks really nice, has everything in there that you'd want in a Dune game.
I should really watch the movie. I still haven't.
I mean, it's a good movie. You should watch it.
Yeah. It's been on my because I know a little bit about Dune. And I feel like everything I know about it was even before. I knew before the new movie because Dune is just so old, right?
I feel like it's difficult to be a nerd and not pick up some things about Dune along the way somewhere. The
spice must flow and the big worm.
Exactly.
But I've never actually engaged with any of it. So.
I was gonna say I've not watched or read. I've not watched the Dune movie. I've not read the books. Is it a game that I would pick up? Like, is it a good game by itself, or is it like one that you really want to have watched everything with?
It's difficult to answer because I've both read the books and watched the film, and I like both. I'm not like a huge fan, but I'd say there's enough here that you'd get into it. If you like 4X games, this is a pretty solid one. It's early. And I don't think it holds a candle to Stellaris, but like Stellaris and all its DLC is like up at 100 odd quid to like 200 quid now. So yeah, and also this was I played a session, and I think I've got total time played 5.5 hours, and that was with a couple restarts because I fucked up early, as you do in 4X games. And I finished a game, so it's like this is kind of it's kind of nice that this doesn't drag on forever. Which I found I've never finished a game of Stellaris like 100%. I always get, you get to the sprawling empire stage where everybody's kind of settled, and then it's like impossible to do anything.
It's really one of my big problems with these types of games is the games just last so long. I think we've had friends do big groups of like civilizations, and they take days
we never finish
and days, and then you never even finish. And I guess I just have no patience, basically.
Well, this has the big mechanic in this is in the Spice Wars is every week or so you have to pay a spice tax, and that increases every time. So it never happened to me, but presumably eventually you can no longer sustain your spice harvest, and then I guess you get eliminated. I'm not sure what happens.
You have to start selling your hotels and houses and your properties. Go directly to jail.
I gotta start begging for spice on the street corners and
any spice.
But yeah, that's good. It's got that Civ thing where a guy will attack you, and then he'll call you up and be like, I cannot believe you're being aggressive on this planet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You attacked me. What the fuck?
Who's the Dune Spice Wars Gandhi? Who just nukes
you? There's a smuggler in this. So there's 4 factions. There's Atreides, the good guys. There's Harkonnen, the bad guys. The Fremen, who are, I guess, good or bad, depending on your point of view. And then there's just smugglers, which aren't really mentioned in the book or the movie. They're sort of they must exist, but they're just another faction that they've added. And it's like yeah, it's run by this really handsome looking guy, and he kept texting me and saying like, oh, wouldn't it be a shame if something happened to your spice harvesters? And I'm like, you haven't been relevant in a good 4 hours now, mate. I don't know who you're trying to fool.
Just random message from someone you know isn't a threat at all, just being like, "Watch your back," and you're like, "Yeah, whatever, mate."
There's some fun stuff. Whenever these 4X games go long, I feel like the AI kind of breaks around what it's supposed to be doing, and there was definitely somebody kept setting off a rebellion in one of my towns, and I know it. I don't know who. I have my suspicions, but I don't know who it was. But so like I just had a huge army of dudes stationed at one of my towns, and then every now and then it would be like, oh yeah, the peasants are rebelling again, and my guys would just instantly wipe them out, and then it would be like back to business as usual. And it's like, maybe try rebelling a different town, you know, like one far away that I can't respond to.
You've been playing so long, all the rebellion integers are overflowing, and they're just rebelling every 2 seconds. We rebelled 2 minutes ago and got slaughtered, but this is our time.
Yeah, they must have really good unions in this town, because they're all about rebelling, like at the drop of a hat.
We're gonna need you to work an extra 15 minutes today. Oh, I'm just gonna fucking rebel then.
Yeah, fuck that. What if we just rebelled again? Yeah.
Because you rebelled 10 minutes ago and you all got slaughtered. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, there's some really fun stuff. There's a really cool mechanic in this where what I hate about 4X games a lot of the time is like, how do you get... You can have like armies and stuff, but how, like, if by the end of the game, if you have a fight at one end of your territory and your army ends up at the other end of your territory, it's like, it's just so much effort to move things about. And in this, you can build a network of like runway, or like, what are they called? I think they're just called runways or something. And at any point, if someone is within the radius of a runway, any unit, you can just be like, yeah, pick them up and drop them off over here somewhere. And
a teleportation.
But yeah, essentially, it's really great. There's this cool animation of all these dropships landing and dudes like getting in and stuff, and then you just watch them cruise across the map. And you just drop them on a rebellion's head. That happened a few times. Really. Now I'm talking about it. Actually, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna go play some once we're done.
Cool stuff. You got anything else to add, or are you gonna leave it there?
No, great little early access game. Not as much depth as maybe you'd want right now, and no multiplayer. If that's a deal breaker, so
that would be a deal breaker for me. Yeah.
It's a very tactical week this week, isn't it? Everyone's playing.
I was thinking that. Yeah, everyone's gone. Yeah,
you got an XCOM game, a 4X game, a JRPG, and then Castlevania.
And then there's you,
and there's me.
You simpleton.
With my 2-second attention span, I have to smack something with a sword every 2 seconds. Otherwise I'm not having fun.
Unga bunga, 2D combat.
I have to think 2 steps ahead. Fucking boring. Right, so this ends the part where we've been talking about what we've been playing. Let's get on to some news. Coming straight off of, I'm gonna throw this into the whole tactical discussion we have going on. You might know what first story is coming up. This was a weird one, but you've got Eve is working with Microsoft Excel. I don't really know specifically how they were doing this. It's just a great little story. There's always the memes and jokes about Eve Online basically being a spreadsheet simulator.
Yeah, and they finally made it official.
They're actually doing it. It's so bizarre. This picture of the audience just laughing. They know what's up.
Yeah.
I've never played Eve. Why is it a spreadsheet? Like, what would you be spreadsheeting?
It's like you go, Will, because you probably know more than I do.
Well, it's just like there's so many moving parts in that game, and it's all player driven. There's like economies and whole markets for resources and things, that a spreadsheet is sort of an invaluable tool if you're going to take EVE Online seriously. So the fact that you can just port data back and forth between Excel and EVE is like, it just makes sense, really.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's all the economies, and there's all these different ships with different moving parts and different people running the ships, and I think you can, like, depending on your guild or faction you're with or whatever, because it's all player driven, actually have like you pay people for the job they do and this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
and
yeah. You'll have it's crazy. Like monitoring resource levels and stuff in your organization. Yeah.
I thought this was a funny little story.
Yeah,
you got that one there. It's just a quick little one, really. One of the main ones for this week is Summer Game Fest as a date. Dorito Pope's show for the summer, which is always good. This has basically replaced E3 now, more or less.
Yeah.
Well,
for this year at least.
I can't see E3 really coming back. Can you?
I don't think E3 will be back.
Maybe because all the big game companies were like, we're not doing E3, but we're going to announce stuff on our own channels around that time anyway. So maybe you're right. Maybe E3 won't come back. I still think it'll be a shame if they don't, because it was like a good place. Like I've always dreamed of going to E3 and trying out all the demos and stuff and whatnot. But
I just don't think it really.
There's little conventions for that though.
Yeah.
You've still got, if you ever wanted to do it in the future, you've still got other industry events that you can go to. Like we've been to EGX Rezzed. I've been 3 or 4 times, and it's not massive, but that's a cool little event in London. It happens every year.
When any big game companies want to invite me to one of these, I will happily go to one.
Well, you haven't got a game. What you can?
No.
They don't just invite members of the public. You know that, right?
No, we're influencers now. We're on a big time podcast.
I have a reach of 10 people.
We'll get an invite for it so we can talk about games on the podcast.
Well, it looks like there's a bit down here on the page where it says the partners that they're working with for the Summer Game Fest, and there's a lot of big names. There always is every year, right?
Yeah.
But it just kind of cements in my mind that despite E3 being dead this year, there is still something.
Oh shit! Netflix is going to be there.
Well, I was going to say where it's Summer Games Fest to me. In previous years, there's always been a bit it's okay, but it's no E3. So this year they might step it up, but also it's since it's Jeff Keighley is so heavily attached to Summer Game Fest, and Jeff Keighley is also so attached to the Game Awards. I assume everyone's like, "Hey, Jeff, look, you can put our games and announce our games and stuff, and maybe we'll get looked at a bit more favorably for the Game Awards."
Well, it's Jeff Keighley's name is always pasted and attached to all over these bits, like the Game Awards and stuff. But he, as far as I'm aware, he literally pushed for a Game Awards to be a thing in the first place, and it's not always been as massive as it is now. He's done a great job.
Yeah, he's been fantastic for the gaming community. But I'm just saying, where he's both solely attached to the Game Awards and this year it's still going to be a bit bigger. I'm sure everyone's clamoring to get something to announce at Summer Games Fest. Yeah,
I think my only problem with Summer Games Fest, I think it's Summer Games Fest, is this is mainly a UK thing. But these events are always broadcast live at the most unhospitable hours. For British people, it's it's normally something 6 p.m. in America, and it's great. So it's 2 in the morning or something for us. And it's also again, I get why, but it always feels like Jeff Keighley's stuff in particular are always pasted with ads every 2 seconds.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I also think there's a lot of I don't know. I feel E3 was got kind of silly with all its celebrity cameos and stuff. I was really hoping we'd drop that, but getting what's his name, Giancarlo from Breaking Bad, to come out and announce Far Cry and talk about his role in Far Cry. I'm like, can we not? We don't have to do this. Come on. He doesn't want to be here.
Yeah, he's not going to play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I always remember with E3, there are 2 things that always stuck out to me were there's always a car on stage, and I'm like, for a lot of gamers, they don't care about the car on the stage.
Can I park here?
And then
it's not even part of the show.
That was always in the EA section. And then also Ubisoft, it was just been the decline of, they always had the best conferences with Aisha Tyler. And then ever since she left, it's been like down and down. It's like you always get like a fun Just Dance section where they get like actual physical dancers.
I hated those though. I hated
No, that was
those.
rubbish. Yeah, what the fuck?
I
What
love
are you?
them.
What are you
No, it's so camp. It's great.
Yeah, but you play Just Dance every morning, so that's why you like it.
No, I wasn't back then. I just like, oh, it's so dumb. I appreciate it. Like, mix it up a little bit.
Ubisoft would always, it was like you say, it would be like, here's Just Dance. We're going to show a trailer for that. Then we're going to have people dancing physically on stage for like somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes. Also, now here's a sports game from Ubisoft for like the next 5-10 minutes, and then it's just like, oh, I'm watching all this
some Rabbids stuff, and then there's some Assassin's Creed shit, and it's great.
I think.
See how Eve feels about all this.
I think. It was,
although this year, it's going to be like NFT.
No, they can't. NFTs are dying. It's fine.
They will.
Yeah.
I think the one thing E3 had over something like Summer Game Fest is E3 it felt like a longer event where you had back-to-back show, conference.
Yeah.
It's like, here's Microsoft, and then straight afterwards, about half an hour later, here's Sony, and then tomorrow you've got Nintendo and.
Yeah, and like loads of other announcements. The big PC game show as well. Yeah,
and I think
Summer Games Fest, right? It was like there was like one big conference and then like a bunch of little shits that I didn't really care about.
I think so. You still kind of get that now because they've already announced. They've already announced that there's going to be a Microsoft show this year, and you've got Summer Games Fest. But I think E3 was really good at setting a precedent of like, here's the time period when it happens.
It was just really pleasant to all get together, like everyone we know, we'd get in a Discord and like, well, let's watch the Microsoft, let's make fun of this. Like, it was just nice for that week to be like all about video games, Yeah.
World premiere.
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to this though. Like we've been saying for a while that this month and next month are kind of dry. There's a few bits coming out here and there, but there's not a whole lot coming out really.
Yeah,
there's nothing like big
this being in June, these events always have a few bits where it's like, here's a cool new thing, and also it's out right now, so go check it out.
Yeah,
and maybe there'll be something cool. Who knows? I can hope. I'll never like underestimate that happening. Since Apex just dropped one day, and that was great when that came out, because that kind of sets the precedent of like, oh shit, one day you can just be chilling, and then a sick game can just come out of nowhere. Like they have that ability. Yeah, that can happen.
What a great day that was!
It was Apex
just, like,
launching
watching all that coverage and being like, oh, I'm like. Yeah, this looks really exciting. And 3 hours later, and we're all just playing it. Yeah,
out 6 months later, and it's like, and it's out now, and it's like, oh,
yeah. Here's a cool new battle royale, and it's made by the people that make Titanfall. And here's a cool trailer, and also you can play it as soon as your internet downloads it. Go nuts!
Apex was great as well.
Yeah, so never underestimate the power of that. I think that might happen with the next Warzone. At one point, I don't think whatever next Warzone is, I don't think it will launch with a COD release. I feel like one day it will just be like,
really? You don't think it'll be with Modern Warfare 2?
No, I don't think it will. I think it's such a big entity that's separate these days that it'll come out when it's ready.
I don't. I think they'll want to. Blizzard usually hype their stuff up. They don't usually drop stuff.
What's Activision?
Well, it's Blizzard Activision. I mean, you know what I mean.
Activision Blizzard.
It's Activision Microsoft Blizzard.
Oh yeah, that all went through, didn't it? That's all been.
I think so. Although I think now they're getting sued because they rushed it too quick. So
I didn't put this on the docket because I didn't think there'd be much conversation around it, but apparently it's not even really a big deal. It's just things that happen sometimes. The city of New York are suing
one of those American cities.
Yeah, they're suing Activision Blizzard. Yeah, lawyers and suing and stuff. I think it's something to do with basically Bobby Kotick getting out too quickly and getting out scot-free over all the horrific allegations that came out about that company.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the news story here, but there was some pretty horrifying stuff. Coming out about Activision during the worst of it. There was stuff about like, I think a member of staff took their own life, and there was some other stuff like this, like stuff like that. And it was like that was during the height of all the scandals and stuff.
Yeah,
and now Bobby Kotick is just leaving with what, like millions of dollars as like an exit package. It's just like it feels a bit wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that I think they're saying that he rushed it, or it was rushed so he could have like a cushy like exit package and whatnot.
Yeah, and it pushes a lot of the investigations, I guess, to the side. Whereas this really shouldn't happen. But
yeah.
Maybe
it's the cynic in me, but I'm just like, I feel like he was always just going to get away scot-free, and it's like, just get him gone. The faster he's gone, you know.
Oh yeah, it's the
get rid of him.
It's the kind of depressing outlook where it's like, bad people always get what they deserve. And it's like, they don't always. Sometimes, a lot of rich people and stuff get away with a lot of horrible things.
Yeah,
just because they have a shed load of money. But yeah, speaking of.
But yeah, Summer Game Fest.
Yeah. But I guess they're making Warcraft, Arclight, Rumble on mobile, so I completely forgive them, I guess. All is forgiven, Bobby Kotick. You're making a Clash of Clans Warcraft game.
I didn't think this looked that great.
I'm being completely sarcastic, Steve.
Can't tell.
The best thing about the trailer was it actually looked like they were having fun in the trailer, the people.
Yeah, but they're paid to look like they're having fun.
I thought it was a bit much. I was like, they're having too much fun.
Stop having fun playing games.
When you compare it to all of their old stuff, I was like, nah, this is a better direction in my eyes.
For context, they announced this as like Warcraft mobile game are announcing, and it got leaked like moments beforehand.
Yeah.
But during the announcement trailer for this Clash of Clans Warcraft crossover, well, not crossover, but inspired game, they were like had two very excited developers, and they had like a meme counter on screen for every single time they said chaos, and then they would say be like chaos at the very end, and that seemed a bit too much. I'm like, you know, I'm like, it's like, not to shit on the developers. I'm just like, you know, with Blizzard's
it felt quite tone deaf coming from Blizzard, the company with all these scandals going on.
Yeah,
but like it was like nice to see the positive energy, but it just felt like they're trying too hard to make this a meme, you know?
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
It comes across as disingenuous where you kind of watch it and you're like, okay.
Maybe she just really did like chaos.
Maybe she loves chaos, yeah.
She just saw Stranger in Paradise and was like, we need to outdo them.
Playing Final Fantasy Stranger in Paradise and thinking, I want to shape my entire personality around this character.
That's a guy I want to take after, yeah.
He looks like he's got his head on his shoulders. Yeah.
So what did you guys think of the actual game though? I thought it looked alright.
I'll play this. I mean, got no reason not to.
I thought it looked okay, but I was surprised it wasn't put on PC as well, considering that the Diablo Immortal was being put on PC.
Diablo Immortal felt like they had to put it on PC because they got roasted so hard at their reveal of the game.
Yeah, but then I was like surprised this one wasn't, because I'm like, I don't have a mobile device that can probably play this. My tablet might be able to run it.
You guys don't have phones?
Yeah, wait, so when the guy, he said, do you not have phones? He was talking to you specifically.
Yeah,
and he was right, yeah.
And he oh my god, all these years, he was validated.
But I mean, if Blizzard wants me to review this game, they can send me a mobile, and I will happily...
Look at this guy.
That will definitely happen.
They can send it, they can give it to you whilst you're at E3 on your all-access pass that you've been...
Yeah, please.
Welcome to Backstage at Blizzard. Here's your complimentary iPhone X and a copy of Arclight Rumble.
Steve's getting big for his boots. What's going on here? No, this is one of those games where I have no hype or interest at all. But it'll come out and it will be
and you'll
free,
play it.
and I'll play it basically.
Yeah,
you'll play it,
Well,
and you'll be
also-
like, okay, I'm kind of like a little bit addicted, but yeah.
I feel like they announce they say like we're gonna make a Warcraft mobile game. Isn't this like kind of best case scenario for what they're gonna, because there was also rumors they were gonna put out a Pokemon Go clone, but it's Warcraft, and it's like what the fuck, what even would that be? What are you talking about? Like,
people have wanted a pet battle simulator in like a mobile game for a long time, because the pet battles in World of Warcraft, they're okay, they could be stepped up, but people are always like, well, I would like to do this but not in game, I'd like to play it on my mobile.
No one wants that.
Yeah, no, there's a big pet collecting scene in World of Warcraft.
Oh, there's not.
If people want to like go around like collecting pets like via a mobile game instead of actually in game, so
I remember they added
That's
pets and pet battles to World of Warcraft. If anyone doesn't know, it's basically just a shit version of Pokemon. And the first pet I threw out was some cat with like 4 polygons, and I was like, this is garbage. I hate this.
They've updated all of those now.
should have bought the limited edition StarCraft 2 Collector's Edition. I had a Thor that just killed everything. It was great.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, you go in the Blizzard, in-game shop, and it's like, oh, good job, you paid £10 for your sub. Do you want to buy this fire dog for 25 quid?
Yeah,
I'm like, absolutely not. Go away. Yeah, I think like I say, this will come out. I'll play it. It'll probably I'll play a few matches, and it'll be like, you want to buy a box of stuff for $5.99?
Yeah.
Like, oh no, not
Well, I think they said there was going to be like 5 different factions, 60 different heroes, but it would be like gacha loot box style. Like
100%. Yeah.
This
mobile.
kind of
It's
kind of reminded me of the Hearthstone Mercenaries mode, where it's kind of like, oh, you can get heroes from these loot boxes, or or packs, as in, because it's Hearthstone. And it kind of reminded me of that. I'm like, well, I played that for a bit and I had fun, but then it got to a point where it was like a bit too grindy. And I could see this being the same. Like, you have fun, but then unless you like really grind it every single day, or you're spending money on it, you probably get to a point where it's just like, not worth it.
Yeah.
There is an interesting, like, why isn't this on PC? Like,
there's no reason why it can't be.
Yeah. Would it not work? Is it like getting around some kind of like loot box gambling laws by only putting it on phones or something?
I think this is pure assumption, right?
I shot in the dark. Go for it.
Yeah, by putting this only on mobile, you can get away with monetization that is actually probably quite horrific to most people that only play on PC.
Yeah.
Because if you expose. Because you can
if you put a game on mobile with £100 worth of gems purchase,
that's normal. That's
like
100%
no one bats
normal.
an eye.
Yeah.
And if you put it on the Blizzard launcher and there's an option right there to like buy £100 worth of whatever microtransaction currency, then people would have issue. There'd be news stories. There would
be news stories, but there'd be news stories from every other place saying Blizzard are offering 50,000 gems for £110, and it's just like,
We're
probably gonna see that with Diablo Immortal, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, they're putting Immortal on PC, so excuse me. So yeah, I don't know.
I still kind of feel like Immortal is a meme though, and they're only putting it on PC because they literally got trolled.
It is a weird. Yeah, it was.
I stand
it's such
by
a
that.
weird. I know we talked about it last week, but it's Diablo Immortal, which is basically Diablo 3. Which was put on mobile, but now it's back on PC. So is it just Diablo 3? I don't. It's a really weird thing. I guess once we've played it, we'll see. But
yeah,
I want to get a phone that's powerful enough in the future to emulate a PS4 copy of Diablo 3, which is basically Diablo Immortal.
You could. That was another thing. Was you could just port Diablo 3 to mobile. I'm sure you could port Diablo 3 to mobile. I'm sure you could.
Yeah, but a new game gets more hype than.
That's It's Overwatch 2 all over again.
I can't do this again. I mean, I can, but I can't. We're talking about the next news story ties into this really well. Basically, if we get rid of this Warcraft one, the next one is Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact obviously being a very, very popular PC mobile game.
Yeah.
Genshin Impact surpasses $3 billion on mobile and generates an average of $1 billion every 6 months.
It's obscene.
That's not
it's
surprising.
Obscene money.
That's insane.
Crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah.
The amount of Genshin people are crazy for the Genshin characters.
Yeah, but
and the amount of
we're talking billions.
Yeah, billions.
Yeah,
with a
no.
B.
I fully see that because people I see on like my Twitter, I follow like a lot of VTubers and stuff, and they all love Genshin. They will spend millions on not millions exactly, but they'll spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds to get the new waifu or husbando that comes out every single patch or whatnot. People are obsessed with those characters, and there's the thing. You would think like, oh, people just obsessed over the characters. The gameplay is actually pretty good for Genshin as well. If you like don't really care about the characters, there's like a good game plus lovable characters. It's like a money printing machine.
Yeah, it's just anime gacha has always sold really well, right? And
just put Breath of the Wild in with it as well, and there you go.
Yeah, it's like you say, as absurd as that number is, Genshin is a really good game. It's just the whole gacha system. You can have a whole conversation about the predatory nature of loot boxes and gacha and stuff, but yeah, like you say, people have always loved their anime waifus and stuff like that, and it seems to be the go-to days, and it clearly is because it's making an insane amount of money.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's kind of funny. It's like all the developers sat around and stuff, and one of them just goes, "What if we made a gacha game, but like the game was good?" And everyone's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're just like, "Okay, we're going to take the risk, but it better make its money back."
I played when I used to play Genshin on PC, and I was like, "This is really good, like a really good Breath of the Wild clone that gets updated, and then it is also on mobile."
For $3 billion.
I'm like, you probably need like a brick of like a really good mobile phone to play it, but I'm like, if you could play that on mobile as well, and it's just like it's a good game. Like I stopped playing because I had played it so much that at that point I'd done all the content, and it was just like grinding game stuff. But they have added like new islands since and stuff, and it keeps getting updated. And they, as I said, they keep bringing out these characters, getting like big names in the voice acting well to voice act them.
Well, these
people fall in love.
These games are really accessible on mobile. You keep throwing around the term like powerful mobile, but most mobiles, if you buy a modern mobile, will be able to run this and other stuff perfectly fine. My phone my phone costs like $350, and it runs all this stuff. And I bought that like a year ago.
When I'm just used to my like non-functioning Windows phone, old Windows phone.
Nokia 3210.
I'm just saying, like I play it on PC, and I just like play it, and I was like, wait, this game is also on mobile. And I'm like, but if you play it on PC, you're like, this feels like just like a really good PC game.
Yeah, I haven't installed this on mobile, quite knowing I can, because I'm worried that if I do, it's like, well, that's it. Like I'm in, but I don't want to be in.
I've kind of wanted to go back because I played a lot when it came out, and I kind of wanted to go back and check, but there was definitely it was a good game to a point, but there was definitely parts where the gacha creeped in, and it's like, you can't progress until you grind X amount of whatever's or give us a little money on the side, And I was like,
gacha games will always be similar in that they chuck currency and stuff at you at the start. They get you in deep,
get you hooked, and
then they're like, and then the resources dry up, and it's like, well, gotten this far, you pulled a 4-star character with your entry pools. What, you're gonna stop playing now?
Yeah, you're gonna drop all that time you sunk.
Oh, there's limited time where this character's up, and you want this character right, and you've got to get it now, but you don't have enough time to grind the currency, so you might as well spend that money, and that's how they get the billions.
Yeah, you've just like Will, you've just pulled Quikwix Chan in that last pull. Are you going to stop playing now?
Oh God, uninstall.
You wish. If I was in the game, you would be playing. You'd be playing.
Oh, I dropped $6 billion to try and get Steve in the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where all the revenue comes from. It's just me.
It's just me. Yeah.
It's just Will.
Did you hear that Genshin Impact? You should add my little imp character into the game. Just saying.
Oh, we really shouldn't.
Oh wow! Is this on the way to or from your conference at Blizzard?
Well, I need something to play while on the way there and on the way back, you know.
Yeah, he's at E3. All these developers are tripping around trying to give him iPhones and contracts to get into Genshin. He was never the same since all the fame went to his head.
Quikwix San, we need you for a body scan. For you in Genshin.
Yeah, I'm really busy. I'm meeting Elon Musk in 10 minutes. If we could speed this up. Yeah, there's a bit down here as well, where it's kind of like it's a graph comparing a bit of like money coming in compared to other games.
Oh my god, that Rise of Kingdoms game that keeps getting...
Yeah.
That's like a YouTube ad, and I thought it was a complete meme that's actually doing well.
Uma Musume in like...
It's the Horse Girls. That's the only one I recognise from that top 5 other than Genshin.
Horse Girl gacha game making a casual $236 million in Q1. Insane.
I would like to see how much of this money comes from China, though.
You reckon it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. I've watched all of season 1 of Uma Musume.
Of Rise of Kingdoms.
Of Rise of Kingdoms, yeah. It's great anime. No, yeah, it's just it just shows. It's always like, oh, why are these companies always chasing mobile games? Blah 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 blah. Just make normal games. Like, this is why. Because they make literal billions if you can do it right.
But I feel like there was a load of doom, and when stuff like this started to come to light, I feel like there was a load of doom and gloom about how EA's never going to make, I was going to say Titanfall 3, but that's a bad example because I don't think they are going to make Titanfall 3. But I don't know, Gears 7 or something, when they can just make Gears Mobile and make $50 billion or something.
Yep.
But I feel like it's not really happened, has it? It's like the big companies haven't really got it yet, and everyone else is just going on mobile.
People are vigilant with the big companies being like, "Oh, mobile, don't like that." But if it's like a no name or not one of the big companies, they're like, "Oh, okay, this is fine."
I think that's why. I think if you really want to do something like you want the money that these games are making, you have to go all in and be absolutely shameless about it. You know what I mean? It's like Ubisoft are like, oh, we're dabbling in the mobile territory by making like some weird what was that weird game with all like chibi characters on mobile? And it had like Sam Fisher and
some Siege
characters.
Oh yeah, I know.
But anyway,
that was a classic gacha game.
Yeah, name aside, it's like they're kind of there, but at the same time, if they wanted to do it, like you would change all your socials to mobile stuff and be like, yeah, fuck console games, we're doing mobile games from now on now.
Yeah. Do you think maybe it's like if a big EA puts out Titanfall on mobile, Titanfall gacha or whatever.
Yeah.
There's enough people that would be like, oh, fuck this game, that it's like it would never succeed. Whereas if a different studio comes out of nowhere and goes like, yeah, we just make gacha.
I think you have to splinter.
There's not as much outcry.
You have to splinter the company and make a separate part of the company. It's like, yeah, this is the part that makes mobile games now.
Yeah.
And try to somewhat separate it. Because all these companies are still trying. You've got Rainbow Six Mobile, got announced a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
That's
true.
happening. You've got, I don't think it's out yet, but Apex is coming to mobile. PUBG.
Is it really?
Yeah. You've got PUBG on mobile. I'm pretty sure it makes more money than actual PUBG now. It's there's definitely an Apex mobile. Whether or not it's out yet, I don't know. Apex Legends mobile. Pre-register. So it's not out yet, but yeah, this is a thing. What a horrible way to browse screenshots. You have to hold the button down. Sorry if anyone listening, that makes no sense, but that really annoyed me. And it's like I said, we're talking about the power of mobiles and stuff, right? That just might as well be that's better than a Switch game. And Apex is on Switch. So
Yeah, I
And
just
you
don't
telling
think
me
that
they can't put Diablo 3 on mobile, but
Exactly.
for Apex? Come on.
Exactly. You can.
I don't have the device to.
What a horrible UI though on this screenshot. I hate it already, and it's not even out. But yeah, that was that was that one. There's no X button. Help. Okay, we're fine. Okay. The next
lost in the Google Play Store.
Yeah,
someone else take over.
Someone send help. So the next two stories are about Square Enix.
Yeah.
So
I'm helping. The second this happened, I was like, we are talking about this.
So what we're 17 weeks in, and Sam's finally posted a news story.
Sam's posted a single news story. Yeah. All right, Sam, explain to me what's going on here, because I saw the headlines and I was like, someone will talk about this on the podcast.
Yeah, take it away, Sam.
I mean, I'm literally going to read you the title that is on the screen right now.
He didn't read it, did he?
No, I've gone through it. But yeah, the big thing. So it's Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and other stuff has been bought for $300 million.
Yeah, by the Embracer Group.
But
that sounds like a cult.
It does.
The big noticeable thing was like this is like Deus Ex, Tomb Raider, and then like a little bit more niches like Thief and Legacy of Kain, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like quite either cult classics or very well known IPs.
Yeah.
And then the biggest response back, everyone was like, "How have they bought this for as cheap as $300 million?"
That was my
when Gearbox was bought for $1.3 billion.
Yeah. That was my same response, which is one of the big IPs in this like sale is Tomb Raider.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like in my mind, the Tomb Raider IP on its own is worth more than $300 million.
Regardless of like recent games or whatever, how your feelings on those, just owning the title Tomb Raider,
The new Tomb Raider games are good. They just always quote unquote underperform as far as Square Enix is concerned. But it feels like every game Square Enix has released in the Tomb Raider series in the last decade has underperformed.
I feel like every game that isn't a Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, some Final Fantasy games aren't even excluded from that. But yeah.
But yeah, so you've got that sale, and the other story that ties into this is stuff that Square Enix is retaining. So they're selling all these properties, but they're hanging on to Just Cause, Outriders, and Life is Strange.
Life is Strange, I understand.
Yeah,
like that.
Just Cause, I kind of understand as well.
I feel like you
really,
yeah. But the movie's done so well, so they're going to keep hold of that.
It's a movie.
There's a movie.
Oh, I know. It was Uncharted. I get confused between Just Cause and Uncharted. They're the same game.
Tom Holland playing Rico, whatever his name is, putting rockets on cows' butts and making them fly across the sky.
There is a Just Cause movie.
It's quite hot right now, right? And it has been for at least a year, 2 years. Like Life is Strange is popular.
It's just had a new game, hasn't it? Life is Strange. I'm going to get this wrong. Is it Color something?
Colouring in book.
It's Life is Strange. It's Color something. True Colors.
True Colors. Oh, I wanted to say that, but I didn't.
Isn't Outriders the really bad?
Yes.
It's People Can Fly, their latest game, and it.
Oh, sorry, it was their take on Anthem, basically, right?
It was. They kept saying all the way through Outriders. They kept saying this isn't a live service game. If we're gonna add stuff, it'll be like a paid expansions and things like this. We're not going to be doing a bunch of free updates post launch sort of thing. So it's like, kind of, but also not, but kind of not.
Outriders was really weird for me because it came out and a whole bunch of people were playing it, and I kept looking at it, and it looked quite generic, and there were like a whole bunch of bugs and this, that, and the other. I think it had stuff where you had to play it online, even when it was single player, and it had like bugs tied to it and stuff.
Yeah,
but everyone was like, "Oh, you got to check it out," and I was like,
"Yeah,
it looks so the same. Are you sure? It looks so generic."
All I could see was positive news from that game. I feel like I read so many reviews that were like, "Yeah, this game's pretty banging. You should try it," and then it just disappeared like after the 2 days or something. Nobody talked about it. Nothing.
Well, a lot of the good press, a lot of the press in general that came from it is because on launch, it was an Xbox Game Pass day one release for console, but not on PC.
Yes, but not on PC.
But a whole bunch of console people were playing it.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it's good enough to get people going like, "Oh yeah, this is pretty good." And then as soon as like, it's 3 weeks pass, it's just like, yeah, it's done. It's gone.
Yeah. I played it. I played it on PC, and I was like, it was fine.
So you bought it then?
No, it's on Game Pass right now.
On PC?
On PC, yeah. No, it wasn't day and date, but it did come out at some point.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't even know it came out. Yeah.
So I have a question to bring it back to the selling of stuff.
Yes.
Who got stuck with Babylon's Fall?
Like,
did they buy it? Did they not? Because
I think everyone just forgot about it. No one, they didn't even mention it.
Well,
a lot of these assets is like the Western division of Square Enix. So it's like it's Square Enix Montreal, Crystal Dynamics, blah blah blah. It's a lot of the stuff that is inherently not Japanese.
It's like they don't mention Final Fantasy because they're not selling Final Fantasy.
And Platinum Games and Babylon's Fall, it's all very Japanese.
Because I saw apparently this week that Babylon's Fall went down to one concurrent player.
It went down to one concurrent player. I can't keep kicking dirt in this game's eye. It's not fair. Let it die in peace.
No, put it on Game Pass. It will be fine.
I don't even think they've got the resources allocated.
Would you at this point? Would you play it if it went to Game Pass? I wouldn't.
Well, I tried playing the demo and it just didn't run well. So I'm like, maybe if it, I might give it one more shot if they put it on Game Pass. But other than that, not really.
Let it die. Let it die peacefully and fade into obscurity. Because what's the next news story? Like Babylon's Fall has no players.
Yeah.
Like Babylon's Fall has -10 players.
Yeah.
Just like I don't think there's much left to really say about that game. It failed.
Yeah.
There's the tweet. Oh, we're making season 2 and season 3 content for Babylon's Fall. It's like no, you're not. Don't lie to me. It's dead.
I've never seen a game die that quickly. Well, I never lived.
Hood.
I'm pretty sure Hood probably still has more concurrent players than that.
Well, Hood had a slight resurgence because it's currently on the PlayStation Plus games
as well.
Free for the month.
I still liked Hood.
My
my issue
was
it was the game had potential, and then I needed to see what step 2 was.
Yeah,
it didn't feel finished, but it was at least a game.
I was going to say poor Hood, like poor Babylon's Fall, but no, fuck Hood. That game sucks.
No.
I feel like I got tricked into playing that game. I was sold on something that it wasn't. But anyway. So that's that news story.
I just checked. There is a Just Cause movie.
No way.
It was made in 1995, and it stars Sean Connery and Lawrence Fishburne.
Just Cause. Yep, that's a real movie.
I presume it has nothing to do with Just Cause the video game, but I don't know. So maybe somebody out there can tell me if they're linked at all.
This is great. Let me hop into my wingsuit and fly across grapple this nuclear reactor.
Someone needs to watch it and tell us if it what it's like.
Dib's not it.
Not it.
It's one of you two.
Mate, you think I got time to watch?
Get Sam, get back to work.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight you guys. What, for the treat of watching Sean Connery and Lawrence Fishburne in a Just Cause film? You guys are suckers.
Right, so last couple of news stories. Nvidia pays $5.5 million for allegedly hiding how many gaming GPUs were actually sold to crypto miners instead of gamers.
Well, it says paid, but I think they were fined, right?
I assume so, yeah. Basically, so many crypto boys and girls were buying cards. And Nvidia were just like, oh, look how much people like gaming on our 3000
Look at how much
series.
we have to jack the prices up because we're out of stock somehow.
Yeah.
Do you know? I know there's probably like, you know, this is like just the legal proceedings for this kind of thing. But are you not like, if you're a shareholder in Nvidia and it's like, hey, we made 1,000% more money last quarter. What happened? And it's like, oh, people really like that WoW expansion. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know, like...
People really needed their new graphics cards for the amazing new game Cyberpunk.
Crisis Remastered is out, so you know, people stock it up.
I think people forget though that it was also this was we ran into like the graphics card shortage right as lockdown was happening, and people wanted better PCs to play to because they were stuck at home.
It's the perfect storm.
Because of the crypto kiddies like buying up all the graphics, the prices jacked up, and then no one could get them. So it was like people who had like a few months to buy a PC and play it were like, "Oh, no, it's too expensive."
Well, it was the perfect storm.
I still can't get a new graphics card.
Apparently, they've calmed down now. Like it's starting to go back to normality, but. Yeah, this story, I'm glad they're getting fined because I'm like, that's a bit shady selling it all to.
Well, the whole situation for computing and chips in general was, like you say, it was coronavirus locking everything down, so everyone's at home. Because everyone's at home, there's less workers at the time in factories physically making components and chips and this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then because people are at home, people are buying cards for gaming PCs and that, but also people are buying laptops because they're now working from home more, so they're upgrading their home offices. It's everything all at once. So
what's the chase card at the moment? What are people after?
You mean in general?
Like you know, a while back I was like, I saw the prices jacked up, and I sort of just stopped paying attention to graphics cards because I was like, mine's fine, it'll run what I need it to. What is the current, like, what are people aiming for? If I want to get a new really good card, what's the ones to look out for?
I think it's just if you can get your hands on a decently priced 3000 series.
Isn't it like the
T1000
180, I believe, is the newest one. I'm not sure. I'm not a.
I think it's just like it's just for desktop gaming. If you want like the decent cards, it's still your 3070s, 3070 Ti, 3080. For the longest time, I haven't been in this kind of news section for a while, but for a long time the 3090 was around, but it was a lot more money for not a whole big jump in performance.
Yeah.
So you kind of just you ignored it really, and you looked at 3070s and 3080s. There's supposedly going to be a 4000 series at some point this year, so you might find the 3000 series becomes a little less sought after because it's not the hot shit anymore, basically.
Yeah, if Nvidia wants to send us some as well, I'm just saying.
Jesus, Steve. I'm gonna leave this. This is your job for the week. I want you to come back next week with some kind of sponsorship or something. I'll leave it.
Anything. Yeah.
You want to keep going on about it? Fair enough. Balls in your court. Find me something.
Local chippy will do.
Yeah. I actually would have a few avenues of people that I could maybe ask.
You're hyping it up. You're hyping it up.
No, we're too small at the moment.
He's going to come back. He's going to come back next week with like a 30% off Uber Eats voucher that only one of us can use.
We have a promo code for Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Right, and then last news story. This is for Steve. Because Steve talk about it. The day before the name of the game is Steam's most wishlist game, and it's being delayed as it's being shifted to Unreal Engine 5.
This game is a weird one because it looked like what they've put out. It looks like The Division but zombies, like multiplayer online. I think it was listed as an MMO.
Oh, that's this one. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
And what they showed looked fantastic. Of their like they did one trailer of like pre-rendered gameplay, and it was like, oh, it's if you watch the Division trailer where it's like, oh, they run into players and they're chatting and they shoot and stuff, and it looked good, but apparently the game company who's doing this game has not been known for putting out quality games. And then also recently it's been like they haven't updated their website in several months, and I was like, this game is meant to release like in June, July-ish, I believe. It was meant to, and there was just nothing, radio silence, and people were like, it's probably going to be a flop then, because there's some good, like, again, what they've shown looks fantastic, almost too good to be true. This is probably going to be overhyped and underselling like a lot of games.
So this has scuffed written all over it. For me, it's got red flags everywhere.
The trailers though made it look like it could be a fun game, but it was, again, they very selectively picked what they've shown. But yeah, so now they're changing the engine to the Unreal 5, and they've delayed it to, I believe, March of 2023.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, probably needed it, because this game, again, most wishlist game, I've seen so many people say this is a game they are excited for, and I feel like it's gonna be another Anthem, it's gonna be another Cyberpunk, it's gonna be, No Man's Sky. It's gonna be a disappointment, but it's one of those games that everyone's kind of got their like they've wishlisted it.
Well, the thing I said to you, which really caught me off guard, is this is the most wishlist game on Steam, and I have somehow never heard of this game.
Yeah.
I've like, before we were talking about earlier, I was like, what is this? I have no clue what this is.
Yeah.
We're talking about red flags, for me at least. Again, this is anecdotal, but it's like a game that is so hyped up and promises so much, made by a developer and publisher I've never heard of.
Yeah, and they don't have the best track record, apparently.
And it's all the buzzwords. It's open world, MMO, survival, post-apocalyptic,
zombies.
It's just like, I can see this coming out, and it's just like, it's so scuffed.
I hope to be disappointed, not be disappointed, but it's got overhyped, underselling written all over it.
I hope it's great.
From what I've seen of the gameplay, it looked good, and that's why I'm like, I'm kind of hoping it's good, but I just know in my heart of hearts it's gonna be bad.
It's
your Kingdom Hearts.
Your Kingdom of Hearts. It's one of those things where this can come out, and I'll get it because everyone else is getting it, and I'll play it, and it won't work, or it'll be scuffed, and I'll be like, I knew it. Why didn't I trust myself? It felt too good to be true.
Yeah.
And you can tell
you might have fun with it for 1 or 2 sessions because you're playing with friends, but it won't keep you,
Yeah, it's just like, most wish list, and then you read, the description, and it's like, of course it is. Look what it's like promising, and look how these couple of screenshots.
I'd say go watch a gameplay trailer, because that's how I found out about it. I just randomly saw. I was browsing YouTube, and I just randomly saw a PC gamer video that was like the first 20 minutes of day before or whatever. And yeah, I completely agree with everything Steve said, where it's like it looked really good and really polished, but also very scripted in the way they played everything out, to the point where you're like, did you just pre-render this? Like, and then the news that like a month before release, they're like, actually, we're gonna change the engine and push it back a year. I'm like, that doesn't sound like
that sounds pretty sus.
That's not the kind of news you would expect from a dev that's like in control of what's going on.
Oh no, like 50 million people are now wishlisting our game. We should probably actually try and make a game with
make it. Yeah.
But I love those pre-rendered gameplay trailers where they're like pretending it's like, oh, this is an actual situation that could happen, and it would never ever happen. Like the Division, this game, Rainbow Six's original trailer for Siege. where it's like
full of lies.
It's so like fantasy of like people working together perfectly and attacking from different angles, and like the enemy is like sneaking around and they don't notice, and you're there talking to your friend. You know, it's never gonna happen. But I love those.
If it was a real
much.
Rainbow Six trailer with randoms on speech, there'd be at least 3 racial slurs and 5 like swear words in the span of one round.
It'd be a bold way to show off your game, wouldn't it?
I love the fantasy those trailers sell, and I'm like, oh, one day I'm gonna have this experience.
You have
my lifetime.
That experience isn't real.
I know, but I want it.
it's literally a pre-scripted movie event. The closest thing you have to that is playing like Hunt Showdown and stuff like that with the people. But
okay, I see. But it's the same way that you'll watch a McDonald's advert and you'll be like, "Well, I know that's not what I'm gonna get, but I do kind of want a Big Mac now." You know, it's exactly the same thing.
It's the problem with those types of trailers is, it'll be like 3 or 4 teammates together, huddled around a corner, stealthing against a single AI, and they're like, right, I'm gonna shoot in 3 seconds. I'm gonna count down and then use and it's like that doesn't exist because the actual meta of the game will always be, oh, there's a guy there. Yeah, I've just shot him. He's dead.
Yeah, exactly. But I can dream. Yeah. Let me dream.
You can dream. It's not real. Wake up, Steve.
Let me live my fantasy. I live in a world of delusion. Let me live there.
That's fine, yeah. That's all the news for the week. Good job, everybody. You've survived another week in this zombie apocalypse of the podcast.
And there's nothing really exciting this week for releases, other than maybe Salt and Sacrifice on May 10th. But
oh yeah,
what's that coming out on, by the way? Because I'm kind of excited for that.
PlayStation 5 and PC.
But like where? Because I guess it must be a Epic thing.
Salt and Sacrifice, Epic. Yeah, it's the first link is for the Epic Game Store.
Oh, okay.
£15, no, £16, not too bad.
So based on your opinions on the Epic Game Store, this is either not a big deal or it's literally the worst thing to ever happen.
Yeah.
But another week of the podcast. Should we do our socials and get the hell out of here?
Yeah, I think we probably should.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. If you've made it this far, we'll do our socials. Again, I am BottlerWorks on Twitch and Twitter. One day I'll stream. One day. Will, if you want to do yours.
Hello, I'm Olive Meister. You can find me on Olive Meister. Just search for Olive Meister. You'll find me.
And Steven.
Hi, I'm Quikwix on Twitter, Twitch, and everywhere. Most places other than Facebook, Instagram, or a website, because that was yoinked.
Yeah,
there's a sponsor we could get. There's a sponsor. I'm gonna email them. Hold on.
Oh, you do that.
What was the website? It was literally quikwix.com, wasn't it?
Quikwix.com. Yeah.
Don't bring it up. I wouldn't be so mad, but it just looks so scuffed. It really does.
If you want to buy the podcast some candles, go to quikwix.com.
Not sponsored, not affiliated.
No. Oh, these images are horrible.
You love the stretched images.
It's just home catalogue.
It's food candles. And I was like, no.
Delicious.
No.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Because I've always thought there's, the thing that I hate about my candles is that I don't want to eat them. That's what's always been missing.
Yeah.
I'm like, my branding is being a pervert and talking about piss, not candles.
We're stretching out this candle even more. This baby can be stretched across multiple monitors.
Josh has copied a candle into paint and is stretching out
to
infinity and beyond.
There we go. That'll do. And Sam, where can we find you? You're on Twitter now, right?
I've always been on Twitter, but I'm Sam.
Good stuff. Okay, goodbye, everybody. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Oh, how do I turn this thing off?